under God. Praise you with our family, with our family, under God. Families under.
Welcome to this program, Families Under God. What a joy for us to have you again this evening after you've just finished watching the news. I always say this is good news after challenging news. And so sit there with your family, and this is a program that you can call your children, your whole family, and you'll be comfortable watching it. Today I'm recording from our retreat center in Karen, and you can see how beautiful it is. And so any of you who would like to spend some time in prayer, you are most welcome. I also want to let you know that Home Care is back now full swing, meeting every Thursday, 12:30 to 2:30 on Cabernet Gardens. Please come. You will not find our usual facility because we have pulled it down because we are building a new sanctuary, but we have a tent. Come and join us in the tent as we build our permanent structure. So as I said, it's such a joy for me to be with you.
Families under God.
Thank you so much for accepting to come on the show. Please tell us a little about yourself, an introduction.
Thank you so much, Nkata. I'm Judy Bugwa. I am ordained minister of the gospel. I am a mother of 5 adult children and 10 grandchildren. And I serve in the ministry of Home Care Spiritual Fellowship as the founder and CEO. And I want to take opportunity to welcome you here where we are recording,
Yes.
which is part of the gardens that God has given Home Care. Karibu Asante.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the show. Our other guest is the beautiful Beryl Ogutu. Tell us a little about yourself.
My name is Beryl Achieng Ogutu. I am passionate about Jesus Christ. I am born again. I am also a recovered drug and alcohol addict, a certified addiction counselor, internationally certified. I am also a survivor of rape and domestic violence, the treasurer of Women in Mental Health, and also a pastor at World Reconciliation Ministry in Ongata, Rongai. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to the show. When we look at the situation in Kenya today, every news item has something to do with alcoholism, has something to do with domestic-based violence, has so much, even now there's even the femicide and the killings, so many things going on. And many are being pointed back to substance use. You'll find that most people are under the influence when they're doing these things. So as an expert, what can you tell us addiction is?
Addiction is a disease that is characterized by obsession, compulsion, and loss of control. And one of its symptoms is substance use.
Okay.
So addiction is wide.
Mhm.
You can find somebody being addicted to work.
Okay.
You can find somebody being addicted to going to the gym. You can find somebody addicted to relationship,
Okay.
obsessive compulsion disorder.
Yes.
You can find people even being addicted to sex. So it being a disease,
Okay.
there are some characteristics, but there is an expression of the disease. And one of it is substance use.
Why is it that many people assume that it is a character flaw, it is something that they have brought onto themselves? Because you just need to hear people talk about someone who has an alcohol use disorder or is using marijuana, and they make it look like that person is the one that has gotten them into that situation. From your description, you're saying it is a progressive disease that affects the body. Is there, what would then would be the right intervention? What do we do to the people to help them? Because many people, even those who are watching now, they think their loved one, their partner is going through something they brought onto themselves, not knowing it is a disease. What word can you share so that Reverend can also tell us from a spiritual angle? Yeah.
One thing that you need to understand is that we are in an African society. We are Africans, and we have a culture that a man is the head of the house and the woman is the helper. And culturally, there are some things that are required for us when as pertaining to behavior. So when somebody drinks alcohol beyond the limit of which they are supposed to drink, and because addiction is associated with unmanageability, you will find people will go back and start looking at this person, where this person has come from. They will start looking at the parents and think that the parents have failed, or them themselves have failed morally. So it is looked as a moral failure because of the culture that we come in and the expectations that we have as a society on how a man and a woman should behave.
So viewers, you've heard it from the addictions expert that addiction of any form, it could be gambling, it could be any kind of addiction, is a disease, and there is treatment. Therefore, it is important to seek medical advice. It is important to seek out professionals so that you can get solutions. We need to be able to stop blaming the person that is affected and help them, because they themselves seem like they're not able, because it is a deteriorating disease. Reverend Judy Mbogwa, in the body in the body of Christ or in the church, many people don't talk about these things, and we assume that in the church no one struggles with addiction. In the church everyone is perfect. Is that true?
Absolutely not. And I'm glad you're using the word assume,
Yes.
because assumptions are done when you don't have the facts.
True.
But when people have the facts, they
Yes.
stop assuming and they
Yes.
get to the real thing. And the real thing is that people in the church
Yes.
are ordinary people. And therefore, they go through the ordinary things that other people go through. The great thing, I don't want to say the exception, but the great thing
Yes.
is that they go through what they go through with the power of the Holy Spirit. God is in their struggles.
Yes.
And especially when they come out and share, because the worst thing that happens then in the
Yes.
church is that people don't share, because you say, somebody like me, I've been in the ministry for many, many years.
Yes.
So if people hear the children of so-and-so are doing ABCD, what would they think about me? And as Beryl has said, it's not about you.
Yes.
If people hear that my son has cancer,
Yes.
or my daughter has diabetes,
Yes.
do they blame me for that?
No.
No, they don't. Because there's nothing I could have done about it, and there's nothing the child also could have done about it.
Yes.
But when they hear that my child is an alcoholic,
Yes.
they say, how could that happen? Why did the parents not take care? And so it's a misconception
Yes.
based on misunderstanding. And I think we need to come out and
Yes.
speak about it.
Yes.
And that's why I'm so happy in Kada, because of this program that you have started, so that you bring to light the
Yes.
fact that it is not because of sin.
Yes.
Also, picking and looking at it from a spiritual point of view,
Yes.
there is also the devil that comes to steal,
Yes.
to kill, and to destroy.
Yes.
And when if he sees a weak point in my child, that my child likes to pick things that are not theirs,
Yes.
he gets a legal right. And so, if the devil then finds that my son or my daughter's escape route to their problem is a bottle of beer,
Yes.
or overeating, excessive
Yes.
eating, or things like that, then the devil exaggerates that and comes and takes a legal right on that area and really torments that child or that man. Even husbands,
Yes.
adults, mothers, there are so many that are suffering. And so
Yeah.
I want to say that misunderstanding brings a lot of confusion.
Yes.
And I think we need to demystify
Yes.
the myth.
I like what you said. How you put it. It's assumptions, and you know, with assumptions, you don't go right. Why I invited you to the show, I was quickened in my spirit about a sermon you preached about the innkeeper of the good and the good Samaritan. And the highlight was compassion. So I also hear from what you're saying that we need to be compassionate, whether we're in the church, we're in the home front, yes? And even as society, let us stop judging others. Instead of judging and throwing stones, let us get to the underlying issues. And Beryl, tell us these underlying issues, because like Reverend has said, maybe the child has started picking some things, has sticky fingers, you know, they're called sticky fingers. The addictions or substance use disorders or behavioral harmful behaviors have been linked to underlying causes.
Underlying
It's
causes.
something to do with trauma,
Yes.
maybe fear, low self-esteem. Let's talk a little about that, the underlying,
Okay.
just briefly.
Scientifically, there is the father of psychology who's called Sigmund Freud, who said that early childhood experiences determine who we become.
Okay.
So you will find it starts from the home. What kind of environment was your child brought up in? I will give myself as an example. I grew up in a very dysfunctional family.
Okay.
There was a lot of violence, a lot of trauma. So I grew up with a lot of fear. And through that fear, I had to find an expression on how I can be able to deal with those emotions. As Reverend has said, that some people use alcohol as an escape. You can use alcohol as an escape to an underlying problem.
Yes.
One of the underlying problems that many people face is mental illnesses, mental disorders. Disorders such as schizophrenia. You'll find somebody is smoking bang because they hear voices and they'll tell you there's somebody who tells me this. They start having unusual beliefs that the family is out to get them and to kill them. So they smoke weed to quiet those voices. We have people who have bipolar, and bipolar is very common right now. They have manic episodes where they're erratic and they do things in a very compulsive way. And as a way of dealing with those manic episodes, they can use drugs. Then we have diseases. There are very many mental health diseases such as depression. And many people in the church are suffering from depression silently because they don't have an avenue of which they can share because of what you're talking about, stigma.
Someone, you know, someone who's watching now, that word depression, can you give us some symptoms? Because I know there are so many underlying issues, but just as I highlight depression, because it's the most used. You hear women get a baby, there's postpartum depression. You hear someone has been laid off, has lost a job, it is depression. Recently, even now as we speak, in the creative arts space in Kenya today, there's so much that is happening because a young man was seen very vibrant, only few hours later to hear that he died by suicide. So what is this? People who look so happy outside, you have had a great time, but they themselves have taken their lives.
And
Just let us, just the symptoms of depression, what are
Exactly.
those?
And what you're describing is what we call smiling depression,
Oh.
where somebody is going through a very hard time, but on the outside they look okay.
Okay.
So depression is a mood disorder that is characterized by periods of hopelessness, sadness, lack of motivation.
Okay.
Okay, those are the main symptoms that I would want to focus on when it comes to depression. And you will find that these people will isolate themselves a lot.
Okay.
One of the symptoms is isolation.
Okay.
Another symptom is the lack of performing in your major roles.
Okay.
If you are a mother, you find it difficult to perform in that role. If it is going to work, you lack motivation to go to work. So it is a mood disorder, and it is very common right now, especially in Kenya right now, because we are going through harsh economic times.
Okay.
People are struggling to put food on their table. So you will find a mother is secretly depressed, but they can't show it because he has children
Yes.
who are looking up to her,
Yes.
children who need things from her. So she suffers silently. And that's when you find somebody the next day, you hear news that somebody has committed suicide.
Thank you so much for
Yes.
that clarification, and even the factual, the science behind it. It's a medical condition, and the message is that you can get help.
Exactly.
Reverend, what advice would you give us? Because I believe you do meet people who come to you and they share, they confide in you. We won't ask for details, on those secret conversations. But what advice do you give to most people who come to you and they have the spirit of evidence? They feel like giving up. They are tired. They want to. They're just fed up. And something else is, what about those parents who come to you and they tell you they feel like they have failed because of the way their children have turned out? And yet we are hearing very clearly this is a disease. At times the parents have even the parents tend to blame themselves, yet it is a medical condition, and that's why the children are struggling. What advice do you give them? And to the viewers?
There is no one answer that fixes it all, because it will depend on the person coming to you, how open they are going to be. Because if they are not open, if they just say, Reverend, I want you to pray for me, and I am just feeling sad or something like that, now you can't say, no, you are depressed, you need to go and see a counselor. Even though as a pastor, I sense it very strongly, this person needs to see a counselor. This person is depressed, but you can't go identifying sicknesses and issues for people. You just do what they ask you to do. But on a broader perspective, when you are preaching, one of the things that I have found very helpful in my ministry in home care is to bring experts. For example, when I brought you in Katha and you shared about your alcoholism and all that God has helped you to do and how you came out, you remember there were several women who now came to you, oh, my son is like that, my daughter is like that, because now then they can open up because they're seeing someone who has been there and someone who has come out of it. Also, I like sharing my own testimony and other people's testimony as parents, because you shared as the person who was involved. But your mother, how did your mother feel all about it? And that's what you're saying. The parents blame themselves because of what the children have done. By the grace of God, the Lord helped my husband and I not to blame ourselves when we realized that our son was alcoholic. It was very, very difficult for me in particular, because I had spent a lot of time praying for the father to get born again. And while we were waiting for the father to be born again, who took quite a while, or rather the Spirit allowed him allowed us to pray for quite a while. We prayed for 28 years for my husband to be born again. While I'm praying, and my 5 children got saved, one of my sons now, who was praying with me for the father, I was told he's drinking. I said he can't. In fact, I told the person who told me he's drinking, no, he can't. He's even born again, Spirit-filled, speaking in tongues. There's no way he can. I refuse. Then they said one day, Mom, come to his room. And sure enough, I went to his room and I found a bottle of beer. I was shocked. I was traumatized. But the grace of God helped me overcome. And I realized that this is spiritual warfare. And there's nothing I can do about it except prayer. I almost gave up gave up praying, because the person who was my partner in prayer now has gone to the same thing we were praying for. But God is gracious. I prayed for my son for 30 years. And I want to talk to those people who are watching us. I want to say, if there's one word that Katha would ask me to talk to the parents, is to ask you to be patient. Just be patient. Wait upon the Lord. Bible says those who wait upon the Lord shall be strong. And therefore, God gave me the patience. Now, looking back on hindsight, I can say that the word is patient. But at that point, I was like, God, surely I can't lose both of them. It was difficult for me to think of my husband not going to heaven. Now my husband and my son, no, I can't. And that gave me the motivation and the strength to pray. So parents, I want to ask you, be patient. Take these children for treatment if they need medical treatment. Take them to counselors if they need counseling, but never abdicate on your own responsibility, because prayer is powerful and there is nothing that works like prayer. And so, Nkada, I prayed for my son for 30 years, and by the grace of God, he recovered, and he is now publicly also talking about recovery, because God helps people. And so that people are not left in doubt, my husband also got saved after 28 years. And I lived with him another 28 years before he passed on to be with the Lord 2 years ago. And so now I have the confidence because I know where he is. Because he gave his public testimony and walked the journey for 28 years.
That is a wonderful testimony. You know, viewers, I want to pick up on that word, patience. I've just been quickened in my spirit, you know, just remembering my mom. My mother prayed for so many years. When you are going through a disorder, and especially alcohol use disorders, you tend yourself to be in denial. So as my mother was trying to highlight to me the challenges I have, I drew away from my parents and I was in denial and everything suffered. But what I love with her today is that she was able to be patient, just as Reverend Judy is telling us. Many of us will feel discouraged. Many of us will keep saying, you know what, you're embarrassing us. For a moment, stop making it about yourself. That's what we've said even from the beginning. Try understand why this person is looking for comfort in those things and get to the underlying issues and take a posture of prayer and seek out the professional help. I would like for Beryl just to give us a parting shot, and especially on mental health and women. You find women more than men are stigmatized because of various reasons. They are the ones who get children in society. People are imagine, how can you as a woman drink? They will even label you all those mean kind of names when they find out you're a woman. And that's why I've read somewhere research says women are drinking or are using substances, but they don't seek for help. The people you will find in these treatment centers, they are more men than women. Yet the women are suffering more. What parting shot of advice would you give?
I would focus on sensitization, on people to be sensitized on addiction, especially disassociating the stigma from addiction. As a person who has recovered from addiction myself or substance use disorder, and also a person who runs a rehabilitation center, I have seen that when parents are making an inquiry for the ladies, they will ask, are there other ladies in the rehabilitation center, to find out first. And then they will bring them at night when nobody is seeing, because women are the view that people have on women are supposed to be strong, are supposed to be helpers, are supposed to have self-control. So there is a lot of stigma that is associated with women abusing alcohol. And I would say that women need to come out. If they have a problem, share. Because it is only through sharing that you can get help. And there is help out there. Yes.
Yes, that's wonderful advice. Would you want...
Yeah, my parting shot would be, if you think you have a problem, just call upon God. You know, it is so easy. And I'm not saying don't do professional way, but right there, even right now as we are talking, if you think you have a problem, and I'm sure you know if you have one, just call upon God and say, Lord Jesus, please help me. I'm in this problem. Direct me, but also save me, because that's a starting point for recovery. When you get to know the Lord Jesus Christ, it's a stronger starting point.
Family and a God.
And you know what? If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, you are addicted to sin. And there is a solution, the blood of Jesus Christ, which washes every sin and every sinner and make them white as snow. And if you'd like to receive Jesus Christ, just pray after me. Lord Jesus, thank you for such a wonderful program. I receive you into my heart. Help me and forgive me my sins. In Jesus' name I pray. That simple prayer changes the situation for you. You can turn from a sinner to a saint, and you can call us on the numbers on the screen, or go to your pastor and let them know the decision you have taken, and they will help you. And finally, another reminder that Home Care is meeting every Thursday, 12:30 to 2:30. God bless you. Have a good week. Amen.